Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the NBA slate on DraftKings and Yahoo for Saturday, April the 10th. We're going to run through Saturday's 7-game slate, team by team like we always do. I'll give you guys my early thoughts, what does stand out to me looking at the slate the night before. As we go through each game, I'll tell you what stands out to me, what I do like from each team. But before we do get started with the breakdown, guys, as always, I'd appreciate it if you would hit that like button down below. And if you are new to the channel here, be sure to click that subscribe button as well. Click the notification bell so that way you do get notified every time I upload, and you also do get notified every time I live stream. Now, on the weekends lately, I haven't really been live streaming much. I don't exactly know if I'm going to be live for tonight's slate or not, but if I do decide to go live, I'll probably be live around 4:30 Eastern time since we do have a little bit of a later lock today. So just check my YouTube channel then. I may be live. If I can, I do want to try and stream for this slate. But yeah, guys, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and let's go ahead and take a look at this first game of the night. We got Toronto and Cleveland. We'll start off on the Raptors side today. So the Raptors are a team that's been dealing with, a lot of injuries lately. Fred VanVleet's been out. Kyle Lowry's been out. Some of their bench guys have also been out. For today, though, we do know VanVleet's going to remain out for this game. Kyle Lowry, though, does have a chance to play. He has been upgraded to questionable. So if Kyle Lowry winds up playing, I think this is probably going to take me off most of the Raptors guys that I've been on lately, like Siakam, Boucher, OG, Trent. I've been playing all these guys, Malachi Flynn. They've basically been good plays every slate for like the last 4 or 5 days that VanVleet and Lowry have both been out. But if Lowry were to return, that would definitely take me completely off of Malachi Flynn. It would take me completely off of Bembry. Probably would take me completely off OG and Trent. The only guys I'd still consider if Lowry's in are Siakam, Lowry himself, and Boucher. Those guys would still be viable for me. With VanVleet already out, we do know Siakam benefits without VanVleet. Just gets more usage, going to have the ball in his hands more. We know he's going to play a ton of minutes. He's always been a guy that gets big minutes every night. If Lowry returns, that's a slight hit for Siakam, but he'd still at least be viable. Now, Lowry himself, I would actually like quite a bit if he's able to play today. He hasn't played in about 2 weeks, so just keep an eye on that. We don't exactly know if he's going to be on some sort of minutes limit, but if we do get Kyle Lowry with no minutes limit at 7,200 with Fred VanVleet out, I would actually like Kyle Lowry quite a bit today if he's able to play and he's not limited. So that'll be something we need to keep an eye on. Boucher, I think his minutes, like last game they had an 8-man rotation, so Boucher played a ton of minutes. He played 36 minutes. The minutes have been, up and down for Boucher. He's been playing really well, though, lately. He's been starting as well. If he starts again, even if Lowry returns, I think Boucher still probably gets around 30 minutes. At 6,800, the price tag came way up, but if they're going to play Boucher 30-plus minutes, he has the upside to pay off this price point. So I do still like some of these Raptors guys. I don't know if they're going to be like first guys in for me, like core options like they have been the last few slates, but some of these guys would still be viable even if Lowry plays. Now, if Lowry is out, then yeah, Siakam, Boucher I would like even more. OG and Trent would become somewhat viable. I'm not that high on them, but they would at least be viable if Lowry's out. Malachi Flynn could still be someone you look to go to. And then DeAndre Bembry, if he were to move back into the starting lineup, he was suspended last game, but I would assume that if Lowry's out, that you do see Bembry go back into the starting lineup. They started Malachi Flynn last game, but, obviously Bembry was out then. The last 2 games that Lowry's been out, Bembry has started, that he played in 30 minutes against Washington, 32 minutes against the Lakers. He's been productive, and he should be productive with no VanVleet and if Lowry were to sit. So actually, I would like DeAndre Bembry as well if Lowry's out. So it's a wait and see here. This Lowry news is very important. It does impact a good amount from this Toronto team. But looking at the Cavs side, the Cavs really haven't been a team I've rostered much of lately, but there are some guys I do have interest in from Cleveland today. I think the first guy that stands out to me is Kevin Love. 6,100 on DK. His price is slowly coming up, but we've seen Kevin Love be really productive lately. He's still not playing a ton of minutes, but if you look, the Cavs have been involved in 2 straight blowouts. They beat San Antonio by 24. They beat OKC by 27. I'm pretty sure the blowout kind of hindered the minutes for Love in those 2 games. He would have played more had it been a close game. But here against Toronto, we're expecting a close game, at least Vegas is. 3-point spread. I think we get around 30 minutes from Kevin Love today. He hasn't played that since coming back from injury, but the minutes have slowly been ramping up, and I feel like he would have played more than 23 minutes last game had it not been a blowout. So at 6,100, if we get around 30 minutes from Kevin Love, he should very easily pay off this price point because Kevin Love is definitely going to be productive with this Cavs team. We know he's a high-usage guy, a guy that can be productive when he's on the floor. Not having to play alongside LeBron anymore or Kyrie anymore. Love he's a good fantasy producer. Like, you remember last year or even the year before when Love was healthy, he was a 7K, 8K player when he was getting normal minutes. So as we see his minutes start to ramp up, we're just going to see this price tag continue to rise. I think we want to get on Kevin Love now while he's still, just 6,100, because I would say that in probably a few days, Kevin Love's going to be closer to 7K, and then in a few days after that, he's probably going to be closer to 8K. I like Kevin Love quite a bit on both sides. Still too cheap in my opinion, 6,100 on DK. Still affordable on Yahoo as well, $19. I think he is clearly one of the better power forward options today. Even if he only plays like 25 minutes again, like he could still put up 35, 40 DK points in 25 minutes. He's that productive of a player. And then the other guy I do want to mention is Taurean Prince. So he's been getting good run off the bench. Last 3 games, he's played 32, 26, 28 minutes, and he's been really productive. At least 32 DraftKings points in 3 straight games. Now, I was not very interested in Prince last slate. I kind of talked some people off of him. He wasn't really someone I considered, and obviously, that didn't really go well. He had a really good game. I'll definitely take the L on that one. But if they're going to keep giving Taurean Prince 26, 28 minutes, I didn't think they were going to do that, but if they're going to keep giving him closer to 30 minutes off the bench, then Taurean Prince is definitely someone I'll be looking to. Jetty Osman, I don't even think has been in the rotation lately. I don't even think he's been playing much. I mean, he played 10 minutes against Miami, 20 against Philly, but I think the last game, let me see. I think last game he didn't even play. So yeah, he didn't play the San Antonio game. He didn't play it against OKC. So Jetty Osman's been a DMP for 2 straight games. Jetty Osman's a guy that can take minutes away from Taurean Prince. But if they're gonna give Taurean Prince 26, 28 minutes a night, I mean he should be productive when he's on the floor for this Cavs team that doesn't have a ton of high usage guys outside of Love and Sexton. So I do like Taurean Prince. He's my second favorite play from this Cavs team. Probably not going to anyone else, though. Hartenstein, I think, is just too expensive now. Dean Wade at 4,800, I guess you could look to, but he's been so up and down. I think I'd rather play Prince over Dean Wade, but I guess you could go there. Yeah, I'd rather play Prince, though, between those two. And Sexton, I think, is just more of a lower-owned tournament option. He doesn't really feel like someone I'm going to be jamming in on this slate. If Lowry plays, I'd rather play Lowry over Sexton. So, yeah, I think we're going to move on to the next game, the Lakers and the Nets. So on the Lakers side, there's a decent amount I do like here. We know LeBron and AD are both going to remain out. Ben McLemore is also going to be out, while Kyle Kuzma, Alex Caruso, and Marc Gasol are all questionable. So I don't know if, outside of Kuzma, I don't know if the Caruso and Gasol news really matters that much. Gasol didn't even play last game, I don't think. So Kuzma news, though, is somewhat important. If Kuzma were to sit, that would just be a little boost to a guy like Dennis Schroeder. He'd get a little bit more usage if Kuzma were to be out. You would probably see more minutes from Markieff Morris. Last game, he did play 34 minutes with Kuzma out. He wasn't that productive, but he would probably get big minutes again. Could be viable at 4,900. But I think the 2 guys that really stand out from this Lakers team are Dennis Schroeder and Andre Drummond. And Andre Drummond, I think, is, in my opinion, probably one of the best plays on today's slate. 6,500, it's just way too cheap for Andre Drummond. Last game against Miami, his first full game with the Lakers, he played 27 minutes. It looks like he was in foul trouble that game. He did have 5 fouls in those 27 minutes. I think he would have played around 30 minutes had he not been in foul trouble. And as you would expect, Drummond was really productive, had 38 DraftKings points, had a double-double, 15 and 12, with 3 assists and 2 steals. Drummond should be productive with this Lakers team, especially while LeBron and AD remain out. He's a high usage center, a center that's going to obviously dominate on the boards. He's a guy that can get you a double-double almost every night. It seems like he's going to be a guy that plays around 30 minutes a night, if not more than that. I feel like his fantasy arrow, his fantasy, what's the word I'm looking for? His outlook, I guess, is just kind of trending up in the right direction. The roof is, or the ceiling is just high, so high for Andre Drummond. The arrow's just going to keep pointing up for him as he gets more minutes. We're just going to see him be, more productive. He's obviously a great point per minute player. He's a guy that should be priced around 9K when he's getting, 30-plus minutes a night. Now, obviously, when LeBron and AD come back, I think Drummond's going to take a hit. I don't expect him to be as productive playing alongside those 2 guys. But while they're still out, Drummond should not be 6,500. I thought he was underpriced on the last slate. I was just worried about his minutes. I wasn't sure how many minutes he was going to play. And he played 27, and I think he would have played more had he not been in foul trouble. So love Andre Drummond here, especially in a matchup against Brooklyn. I mean, we know Brooklyn's always been a team you can target with bigs. They've always struggled against centers. And I know Drummond in the past, just dating back to his time with Detroit, he's had some huge games in the past against this Nets team. So I love Andre Drummond on both sides. I think he is clearly one of the best plays on today's slate. Definitely underpriced. We just got to hope the Lakers can keep this game close. If they do, and we get 30 minutes from Andre Drummond, he's very likely to give us, probably 40-plus DK points. Just way too cheap. So he's the guy that I really like from the Lakers. I don't mind Dennis Schroeder either, though, especially if Kuzma sits again. If Kuzma's out, like, we should get more usage, more opportunity for Dennis Schroeder. Last game, he shot the ball terribly, 2 for 12 from the field, 0 for 4 from 3, and he still had nearly 40 DK points, had 10 points, 6 rebounds, 14 assists in those 40 minutes. So I don't know if we're going to get 40 minutes again from Dennis Schroeder, but very likely he plays, mid to high 30s in a good matchup against Brooklyn. I do like Dennis Schroeder quite a bit. So those are the two guys I do really like from this Lakers team. Probably not going to anything else outside of those two, though. On the Brooklyn side, for me, it's pretty easy here. It's really just Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, never mind on Kevin Durant. So Kevin Durant, it depends on what kind of minutes limit he's going to be on. So his first game back, he played 19 minutes. He didn't check in until like late in the first quarter, early second quarter. I have no idea how many minutes Kevin Durant plays today. He could play 20 again. He could play 30. This is just a wait and see for me. I'd assume that Durant's going to be on another minutes limit. Like, I'd be surprised if he just plays 30 minutes. So my best guess is we probably get like 22, 24 minutes from Kevin Durant. That obviously, yeah, that's not going to make him viable at 9,100. But Kyrie Irving, I still think is, in play. Obviously, last game, the blowout kind of killed him. He only played 30 minutes because of the blowout, but he was really productive. 39 DK points in that time. Should be very productive with James Harden still out. Obviously, the return of Kevin Durant is going to take a little bit of a hit on Kyrie Irving, but while Harden is out, we should see, Kevin Durant and Kyrie kind of dominating the usage on this team. Basically, like we saw when KD was out and it was Harden and Kyrie. Now it's just, Kyrie and KD this time instead of Harden with Harden out. So I do like Kyrie still. I don't know if he's like a top option or a top stud for me, but definitely someone that I, am considering. Kevin Durant, unless we hear he's going to get like 30-plus minutes, I don't think I can go there. So really it's just Kyrie, I think, from this Brooklyn team. We can go ahead and move on to the next game, though, Sacramento and Utah. So on Sacramento today, not a ton really stands out from this Kings team. I think, De'Aaron Fox you can always look to go to in tournaments. I don't know if this is a slate where I'm really going to go out of my way to play De'Aaron Fox. Like, really nothing stands out from the Kings as like a top option. These are guys you can use in tournaments. They should be really low owned. I don't expect really a ton of, popular plays to come from this team. So, yeah, I just don't really like this Kings team. Halliburton, Fox would probably be like my two favorite plays, but overall, I think, there's just other teams I'd rather go to. Tough matchup as well against the Jazz. But on the Jazz side, there's a good amount to like from the Jazz today. So we do know that Jordan Clarkson is going to be, most likely going to be out again. He is doubtful. With Jordan Clarkson out last game, we saw big games from Donovan Mitchell and Joe Ingles. Joe Ingles had a really good game off the bench. He definitely benefits without Jordan Clarkson. His minutes should also increase without Clarkson. He played 35 minutes last game and was very productive in that time with 33 DK points. For some reason, I really don't know why, but Ingles' price went down on DraftKings after he put up 33 DK points. So with Jordan Clarkson doubtful again in a great matchup against Sacramento, I think Joe Ingles is definitely someone I'm going to be looking to from this Jazz team. He's a guy that does really stand out to me, and I do like him on Yahoo as well. He's at small forward, very affordable, $15. He's the guy that I think, him and Donovan Mitchell benefit the most without Jordan Clarkson. And Mitchell, I definitely have interest in as well. 8,800. Like, I think I would definitely rather play Donovan Mitchell over a guy like, De'Aaron Fox. I think I'd rather just have Mitchell in a better matchup. Last game without Jordan Clarkson, we did see Mitchell just get a ton of usage. Took 25 shots, had 50 DK points, did lose some time due to blowout. He was on pace to play about 38 minutes, but got pulled early in that game because of the blowout. But yeah, I think Mitchell benefits without Clarkson. Obviously, Clarkson is a high usage player coming off the bench. So, with him not out there, that's going to allow for a guy like Mitchell to get more usage, going to allow for a guy like Ingles to get more usage with the second unit. And we see those two guys, benefited that last game with Clarkson out. So I do really like those two. Gobert, not as high on. I think there's other centers I prefer. Mike Conley, if he was cheaper, I'd have interest in, but at 7,100, he just feels a little bit too expensive for my liking. Don't think I'm going to go to him on this slate. So we can go ahead and talk about the next game, the Sixers and the Thunder. So on the Sixers side today, Joel Embiid, we have no idea if he's going to play or not. So the Sixers played Friday against Boston. Embiid was, or they played against Minnesota, I think. No, they played against New Orleans, excuse me. So they played against New Orleans on Friday. I'm not exactly sure what Embiid's final stat line was or how many minutes he played. So let's see. Embiid played 31 minutes Friday against New Orleans. He didn't have that good of a game at all. We don't know if Embiid's going to play here. He's came back from injury. He's played 3 games since coming back from an injury. So there's a good chance on a back-to-back here that he does get rested. But assuming that he plays, he's probably the only guy that I'd be considering from the Sixers team. I don't really have interest in Ben Simmons or Tobias Harris. Like, Ben Simmons has just been so bad lately. I don't know if what he did. Like, he finally had a decent game Friday night against the Pelicans, 41 fantasy points in 33 minutes. But, like, on DraftKings, he's still too expensive, in my opinion. Tobias Harris, on the other hand, he played 34 minutes, had 37 fantasy points. Like, just neither one of these guys are really, like, priorities for me when Embiid is playing. If Embiid were to sit, though, then you could definitely look to Simmons and Harris, especially on Yahoo, where they're a lot more affordable. Harris is $35. I like Ben Simmons a lot at $31 on Yahoo if we do get word that Embiid is sitting. And then, obviously, a guy like Dwight Howard would become a solid option if Embiid winds up resting. So, it's a wait and see for me for now. If Embiid's out, I do have interest in Dwight Howard, and I would definitely like Simmons and Harris more on Yahoo than DK, but they're still viable on DK. Embiid, though, if he plays, I think is a decent tournament option, especially after he busted on Friday night. Nobody's going to want to go back to Embiid today, so I do have some interest in him in tournaments. But yeah, on the OKC side, looking at the Thunder here, not as much really stands out from this Thunder team. We do know that Darius Bazley is probable, so he is most likely going to be back. I think with Darius Bazley likely back, that's going to take minutes away from guys like Poku, maybe Kendrick Williams. Like, now that this Thunder team is starting to get some of their, some of their starters back, like, I just don't know if they're a team I really want to target heavily. Isaiah Roby and Lou Dort are both questionable. We don't exactly know if they're going to play. If they wind up playing, then that definitely takes me off of most of this Thunder team. The one guy I will mention that I think I still have interest in is Kendrick Williams. If Kendrick Williams does wind up starting, he has started the last 2 games, or last 3 games, I should say, especially over his last 2. He has been very productive, 34 minutes, 31 minutes, 36 DraftKings points in both games. Like, Kendrick Williams is someone that can be productive when he does get minutes. He's a guy that can contribute in all categories. I don't mind him at 5,700 here if he winds up starting again, but, if Lou Dort returns, if Bazley plays, I would assume that Kendrick Williams is going to get booted out of the starting lineup, which would definitely take me off of him. So it's a wait and see for me now on this Thunder team. If Bazley, Roby, Dort, if these guys play, I don't think there's really anyone I'm considering on OKC. But like if Williams starts, I don't mind Kendrick Williams as a guy to go to. But yeah, we can go and talk about the next game, Houston and Golden State. So on Houston today, looking at the Rockets, this is a back-to-back for the Rockets, so keep an eye on that. John Wall he did not play Friday. I don't know if we have an update yet on his status for Saturday's game. So let's see. I'm guessing okay, so he sat out Friday for rest, so he should be back for Saturday's game. John Wall at 7,900, I guess you could go to. Like, Christian Wood, though, has been really bad lately. As I'm recording this video, that Houston Clippers game is going on right now. I'm not exactly sure what Christian Wood is doing. I'm going to pull up the game log real quick just so I can see. So 8 minutes left in the 4th quarter. Christian Wood, 23 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 blocks. I mean, not the worst game. He's probably doing the math in my head. That's like 35 DK points heading into the 4th quarter. Christian Wood's finally having a decent game. Kelly Olynyk's having a pretty good game again. Kelly Olynyk, I think, is the one guy I definitely would be looking to on this Houston team. With Daniel House out, they have been starting Kelly Olynyk at power forward, and he's been getting big minutes. As of the time I'm recording this video, heading into the 4th quarter, he's played 27 minutes, so he's on pace to play 30 plus minutes again Friday night. I think you can definitely go to Kelly Olynyk, assuming he starts again. I don't mind him. On Yahoo at center, $20. I think he looks like a solid center option. Obviously, Drummond I like a lot, but don't mind Olynyk at $20 on Yahoo. But that's probably it for me from this Houston team. It's really just Olynyk, maybe John Wall, and maybe Christian Wood. But I think Olynyk's the guy that looks best on this Rockets team. Moving on to the other side, though, with the Warriors. So this is also a back-to-back for Golden State. Definitely keep an eye on that. The Warriors have done some weird stuff on back-to-backs lately. Sometimes they'll rest some guys. I'm pretty sure the last back-to-back they were on, like, they rested Draymond and Curry, and I think maybe Oubre was out too. Like, I can't remember. But assuming that everyone plays here, I think the one guy that I would probably be looking to on this Golden State team is Draymond Green. I think at 7,100, he still remains a little bit underpriced. I don't know if there are really any priorities for me from this Warriors team, but Draymond looks okay. I will mention James Wiseman because he's still very cheap on Yahoo, $11. If you need a cheap center option, I think James Wiseman does look like one of the better pay-down options at center. But overall, I don't think the Warriors are a team I'm really going out of my way to roster guys from. Like Curry I liked a lot Friday night in a good matchup against against the Wizards. Still a solid matchup here against Houston. This should be another fast-paced game, but the price tag did go up a bit on Curry. I think there's some other guys I'd rather spend up for. So we can go ahead and talk about the next game, I think. Detroit and Portland. So on Detroit today, we do know that Jeremy Grant is going to remain out. He's already been ruled out for this game, while Mason Plumlee is questionable. Plumlee was questionable last game. He did not wind up playing. We saw Isaiah Stewart start in place of Plumlee, had a really good game. So for me, there's a couple guys that actually do look pretty appealing on this Detroit team. Now, Josh Jackson did start. He's been starting recently. He did start, played 26 minutes last game against Sacramento, had 22 DK points. If Josh Jackson's going to start here and play mid-20s, close to 30 minutes at 5K, definitely a viable option. He should be more productive with Jeremy Grant out, so I don't mind him. Hamidou Diallo was someone I liked off the bench last game, but he only played 17 minutes. I don't think I can go to Diallo here until we see him get more minutes. If they're just going to play him 15, 20 minutes a night, that's just not enough for him to be rosterable at this point. So don't really have any interest in Diallo. But Saddiq Bey, I think he also benefits without Jeremy Grant. We saw him play 35 minutes last game. The production from Saddiq Bey is always, it's always up in the air. Some nights he'll have big games, some nights he won't. But if he's going to get big minutes without Jeremy Grant, should be slightly more productive. I don't mind him either at 4,700. Isaiah Stewart, if he winds up starting with Plumlee out, if Plumlee were to sit again, Isaiah Stewart would definitely be a top value play. He played 33 minutes last game without Plumlee, started in place of him, had 42 DK points. Would love Isaiah Stewart here if he's able to play. And then Corey Joseph's actually the guy that I think I really like from this Detroit team. They did start him last game in place of Jeremy Grant. Pretty sure their starting lineup was Dennis Smith Jr., Corey Joseph, Josh Jackson, Saddiq Bey, and Isaiah Stewart. Assuming that Plumlee's out, that's probably the same starting lineup that they run out again. And if Plumlee plays, then you'll just have Plumlee replace Isaiah Stewart. But yeah, Corey Joseph started last game, played 32 minutes, was very productive, had 40 DK points. Just looking at his numbers this year with the Pistons, I looked at them before I started recording. He's averaged 1.1 fantasy points per minute this year with Detroit. He's been productive on this Pistons team, and it kind of makes sense because the Pistons, they're not that good of a team. They don't have a ton of, high usage players. They have a lot of low usage guys in their lineup. Corey Joseph is normally not someone I really roster, but with this Detroit team, I think his role is definitely, a lot bigger. He can score, he can, get assists. He should be productive when he's playing alongside a bunch of low usage guys that this Detroit offense has. So I do actually like Corey Joseph quite a bit today. If he starts again, I think he's one of the better value plays overall on today's slate, and he's still very cheap on both sides. 4K on DK, only $12 on Yahoo. I like Corey Joseph quite a bit on both sides, or yeah, $12 on Yahoo. So I think that's what I'm looking to on this Detroit team. There's a lot to like here. If Plumlee's out, really like Isaiah Stewart, like Corey Joseph again. I think Bey and Jackson are also viable too. But we can go ahead and move on to the Portland side. So looking at the Blazers here, a lot to like here as well. First off, I want to hit on Enes Kanter. So we do already know that Yusuf Nurkic is once again out for today's game. Enes Kanter is only 5,900 on DK, just way too cheap for Enes Kanter. Last game that Nurkic was out, Kanter did start, played 36 minutes, had 37 DK points. Obviously, last game he only played 21 minutes because Nurkic played in that game. But with Nurkic out, we're basically going to get Enes Kanter starting and playing 30+ minutes most likely. 5,900, just way too cheap. I think Enes Kanter, along with Andre Drummond, looks like one of the best center options on the board today. He's just way underpriced. Damian Lillard, I don't mind at 9,400. On this slate, I think I'd rather play like Donovan Mitchell for cheaper. Donovan Mitchell should be in my core plays. I forgot to add him, so let me go back and add Donovan Mitchell. Forgot to add him. I do like Donovan Mitchell quite a bit. We talked about that earlier. He's someone I'm definitely looking to pay up for. And, I think the reason I don't want to get all the way up to Lillard because, I do like the savings you get going down to a guy like Donovan Mitchell who benefits without Jordan Clarkson. But, if you want to pay up for Lillard, you definitely can, 9,400. McCollum at 7,700, I don't mind either. Those are guys that I think are viable. But in terms of top options, top plays from this Portland team, it is definitely Enes Kanter for me. He's the guy that really benefits today since Nurkic has already been ruled out. But, yeah, we can go ahead and talk about the last game on the night, Washington and Phoenix. So on the Wizards side, this is also a back-to-back for the Wizards, so keep an eye on that. I'm assuming that everyone plays here, but, Bradley Beal's been dealing with an injury lately. It wouldn't be surprising if he were to sit. Westbrook, was sitting earlier this season on back-to-backs. He could maybe be out. Assuming that everyone plays, though, really the only two guys I'm looking to on this Wizards team are Westbrook and Beal. And really, I think it's just Westbrook for me. I don't have a ton of interest in Beal. He just hasn't really been playing that well lately. But Westbrook, I do like a lot. He's just been so consistent, so good, just stuffing the stat sheet every night. I had a lot of interest in him on Friday night slate against the Golden State. As of the time I'm recording this video, I think he's having a good game last time I checked. Yeah, another triple-double with 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Westbrook has 17 points, 12 rebounds, 12 assists. Look, Westbrook's just going to go out there and do everything. Even with Beal playing, he's going to go out there and, just contribute in all categories. Gives you massive upside, has a very high floor. Westbrook's floor is just so high. Even on his bad nights, he's still giving you at least like 50 fantasy points. So I think Westbrook's one of the top pay-up options. I would definitely have I would definitely take Westbrook over some of the other guys we talked about, like Dame, Curry. Like, I'd rather have Westbrook over those guys. Donovan Mitchell, though, I do like a lot, for the savings. If I can get Westbrook and Mitchell together in my lineup, I think that's definitely a way I'm going to be looking to go today. But that really does it for this Wizards team. I think it's really just Westbrook for me, and not too much else on Washington. Now, on the Phoenix side, there's not a ton that stands out from Phoenix. I know the matchup here is really good. DeAndre Ayton, I do like a good amount in this matchup, but, when you look at his price and then the other centers we have, like, I'd rather play Andre Drummond for cheaper. I'd rather play Enes Kanter for cheaper. You still have Boucher you could go to. But Ayton has been getting big minutes lately. He's played at least 32 minutes in 4 of their last 5 games, and the only reason he didn't get 30-plus minutes was against OKC was because it was a massive blowout. He's been productive, especially over his last 3, 46, 45, 36 DK points. Like, if we're going to get 32, 34 minutes from DeAndre Ayton against this bad Wizards team, like, he has massive upside here for sure. Could easily put up 45, close to 50 DK points. So if I had to play anyone on Phoenix, it probably would be DeAndre Ayton. Chris Paul would probably be my second favorite option. We know what Chris Paul's going to do. He's kind of like a mini Westbrook, going to go out there and kind of do a little bit of everything. He doesn't stuff the stat sheet as much as Westbrook does, but we've seen Chris Paul still go out there and put up triple-doubles. I think he actually has had a few triple-doubles this season, or at least has come close. Good matchup here. Don't mind Chris Paul either. I don't see any core options from Phoenix, but definitely guys I'd be mixing in tournaments. Ayton and Paul are probably my 2 favorite guys to go to from the Suns. But yeah, that does it for all 7 games on this Saturday night slate, guys. I appreciate you watching the video. I hope you did enjoy. If you did, hit that like button down below before you do get out of here. Hit that subscribe button as well. Be sure to click the notification bell so that way you do get notified every time I upload, and you also do get notified every time I live stream. Not sure yet if I'll be streaming for Saturday. If I do go live, I'll be live on my YouTube channel around 4:30 Eastern time. If you guys want to check the channel, then see if I'm live. But anyways, best of luck on the slate, guys. Enjoy your Saturday. Have a good week, or a good rest of your weekend, I should say. We'll see you back on Sunday. Should have a video up for Sunday slate. Good luck tonight, guys. Appreciate you watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.